Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel. I was not really looking to get into another little mini project for the channel, but after participating and watching Dave Gardner's live New Year's Day extravaganza this morning, I decided one of the guests was talking about history of baseball and brought up the 1985 series and the bad call by the umpire, which ended up causing the issue, and they lost game six, and then Andujar blew up in game seven. But all of that I remember, and this is kind of prime time baseball for me. I was back in high school, remember a lot of this. But what I really remember is Vince Coleman getting hurt in the Dodgers series, in the National League Championship series, and him not being able to participate in the World Series. So what I wanted to do is a what if. What if the tarp didn't get Coleman? What if he was able to play in that World Series to see if the results would have been any different? Looking at this and setting up the teams, so I have there's two different versions of cards. This is NPNG Plus, and Bill has gone through and redone all of the cards to modify some of the formulas. I have the current National League cards, but the original version American League. They're different, but I'm just going to play it this way. I didn't want to go through and recreate all those cards and get them up on my screen, so I'm just going to play it out this way. Um, so we'll see how this goes. The other thing, the dogs are on the loose, so we'll see if they decide to chime in here and participate in the video or not. So we'll see how that plays. So as always, NPNG Plus, not always, but as I did the last series, NPNG Plus. I'm going to use my roller here, so we'll go through the starting lineups. The Cardinals start on the road. Coleman, McGee, Herr, Clark, Cedeno, Pendleton, Porter, Smith, and John Tudor is on the mound. So up until 1985, so I think there was about a 10-year, 12-year period where the DH in the World Series would alternate between National League rules and American League rules. In 86, they changed that, but in 85, on odd number of years, it would go to the National League rule. So we won't have a DH in this series. One of the things that happened during the World Series is Tito Landrum. He was the one that really slotted in and played in Coleman's spot. So I will adjust this lineup a little bit to having Coleman in there. I have done, if you've seen some of my videos, I have a project going. It's just one of those often and on again projects with the 85 Cardinals. They're one of my favorite teams just because I like stolen bases. I guess my formative years in baseball were the early to mid 80s, and there was a lot of stolen bases then. The Cardinals were good, so I like the stolen base. I've got about 58 games into that replay, and they've stolen 111 bases or so. They steal a lot of bases. They ended up with over 300 for the year. So we'll see if Coleman in the lineup changes anything. Cesar Cedeno came in late in the season and has a monster card. So that will be interesting to see. Came in, I'm going to guess, traded to the team in August, joined from September, hit 434. So he got very hot late. The Royals are going to turn to Lonnie Smith leading off. Lonnie Smith started the season with the Cardinals and was traded away. Partly probably because Vince Coleman and how he emerged through when McGee got hurt and I think Landrum was hurt. Coleman came out, played really well, started stealing bases, was just dynamic with their offense. So they got rid of Smith, kept McGee. So it's going to go Smith, Wilson, Brett, White, Sundberg, Motley, Balboni, Buddy Biancalana, and Danny Jackson will be on the mound. John Tudor is a 43 K3Z3, just a really, really good year. I think he won the Cy Young that year. I had to go back and check. Danny Jackson, a 23 K2, and a blank for his walk rating. So we'll go ahead and get started. Make sure that we're set here. The fatigue number for these pitchers, I use my own fatigue. If you've seen it before, it is innings pitched plus hits plus walks plus runs allowed divided by games started, and that will give you a fatigue number. For Jackson, he will be an 18. And for Tudor, he will actually be a 17. So that will be that. We're going to go ahead and get started. And leading off will be Vince Coleman, and let's see how this goes. Leadoff grounder to short. 1 out. Willie McGee, 64-9 is a base hit. McGee hit 353 for the Cardinals that year. I think he was maybe the MVP. Maybe the MVP that season. Tom Herr, 51-8 and a base hit. That's first and second. I think Tom Herr was the one that got he was over 100 RBIs and less than 10 homers. So the players in front of him got on base a lot and scored a lot. Jack Clark, first and second, 1 out, 63. He strikes out. 2 down for Cesar Cedeno, who will hit a home run. First and second, 1. If the park factor, the park factor is a 1 though. So park factor at Kansas City is a 1. That will turn it to a 3 is a double. Both runners score. So Cedeno doubles. And it's already 2-0 St. Louis. Actually, let's do this. I was forgetting to do that. 3 hits and 2 runs. So runner on second, 2 outs. Terry Pendleton up. 53 an error check. 43 is going to be 21. 21 is the first baseman, who is Steve Balboni. That will be an error. First, it's a range 2. First on error, runner holds. That's bizarre. Ground ball. That's an interesting reading. Ground ball to second with 2 outs. The runner holds. And there's an error on the first baseman who drops the ball. Okay. First and second, 2 outs. And Porter will pop up. 2 runs, 3 hits, 2 left on base. Going to the bottom of the first, it is now 2-0 St. Louis. Lonnie Smith to lead off. 27, he will ground out. 1 out. Willie Wilson, fly out. 2 outs. And George Brett will ground out. So after 1, it's 2-0 St. Louis. Ozzie Smith, 63, fly out. 1 out. John Tudor's up. 21, he flies out. 2 outs for Coleman, who will pop up. And that's it for the top of the second. No runs, no hits. Frank White goes to the second column in an 11C. So he gets a single, but then he's thrown out stealing. That's the worst. The second column outs. I just hate when that happens. So he gets a hit and is thrown out. 1 out. Jim Sundberg will fly out. 2 outs. Darryl Motley will ground out. No runs. 1 hit. None left on base. We go to the third. 2-0 St. Louis. Willie McGee with a base hit. 2 for 2. Tom Herr. He's a 17 for sacrifice. He will not. He'll fly out to center. 1 out. Jack Clark is up. He strikes out again. 2 down for Cesar Cedeno, who will walk. Probably a good idea. Pitches around him, walks him, gets him on base, but now it's Terry Pendleton with 2 outs, who hits a 27, first and second. 27 is a ground out. No runs, 1 hit. 2 left on base. 2-0, bottom of the third. Steve Bye-Bye Balboni grounds to short. 1 out. Great nickname. Buddy Biancalana goes to the second column and doubles. Not a lot of power in that second column. He doubles though. Runner on second. The interesting situation with these pitchers is because they didn't hit, they have a 0 sacrifice rating and a low bunt rating. They didn't bunt because they were DH'd all year. I'm going to let him sacrifice and make him a bunt 5, as most pitchers were in the day. So he will sacrifice a 65. 24, runner on second is a fielder's choice, runner out at third, batter safe at first. So Jackson lays down the bunt, and it is not a good one. Biancalana is thrown out at third, 2 down. Lonnie Smith flies to center. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left on base. Gotta do that. And we go to the 4th. So it's 2 hits, 3 innings. That's 5, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 3 is 10. Okay, Darrell Porter grounds to short, 1 out. Ozzie Smith flies to right, 2 down. John Tudor strikes out. So Jackson has settled down. He gets through the 4th without any incidents. Willie Wilson will strike out. 1 out. George Brett grounds out, 2 down. Frank White, 25-8 is a base hit. He's 2 for 2. Frank White hitting 4th on that team. Interesting. I was surprised by that. Runner on first, 2 down for Jim Sundberg, who gets a 34. And that's an error check on the first baseman, which will be an error. 34, first, oh, hold on, nope, sorry. It would have been an error, but he's a K3. Tudor strikes him out. So Tudor's strikeout prevents the error from happening, and that will end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left on base. We go to the 5th. 2-0 St. Louis. Vince Coleman grounds to short. Still nothing from Vincent Van Gogh. Willie McGee grounds to short, 2 down. And Tom Herr will pop up. No runs, no hits. Darryl Motley, 34 with a K3 is a strikeout. 1 out. Steve Balboni, 41. Rare play check 25-39. 39 is a possible error on the shortstop, but that's Ozzie Smith. He covers it and a fly out. 2 down. Buddy Biancalana will ground out. No runs, no hits. We go to the 6th. Tudor in control, but still 2-0 is close. Clark to lead off. He will fly out. 1 out. Cesar Cedeno flies out. 2 down. Terry Pendleton will strike out. And nothing doing for St. Louis. Darrell Jackson to lead off the bottom of the 6th with a 29. That is a ground out. It's a 22 on the roll, but that's someone that doesn't get many hits. 1 down. Lonnie Smith grounds out. 2 down. Willie Wilson will get 2 balls. The Z3 prevents the walk, which would have been an out because he's a 14C, but now it's 2 balls, and he flies to right. So not only is Tudor a 43, which is actually really good, but a Z3 as well, so he limits the walks, especially with nobody on base. So that combination, I think he had 1 point something ERA, 1.93 in real life. I think his ERA might replay like 1.8. Just really, really good. Porter to lead off the 7th inning. Grounds out, 1 out. Ozzie Smith, 39-23 is a 36. That will be a fly out. 2 down. Tudor will hit and will fly out. No runs, no hits. A lot of zeros on the scoreboard. George Brett, 2 balls and a ground out. 1 out. Frank White grounds out. 2 down. Jim Sundberg grounds to the pitcher. 3 outs. Game is moving along. Not much happening at the plate. I think they have 3, 7, 10. Yep. Okay, so we're good. Vince Coleman to lead off the 8th. Is this going to be the time? It is. Goes the second column and a triple. So he goes to the second column. He has 4 second column numbers. A lot of them are stolen base numbers, but the 22 is a triple for Coleman. to lead off the top of the 8th. Runner on third, nobody out. Infield in. Willie McGee, 25. 25 is a second baseman, and Frank White is a range 3. And he lines into a double play. So liner to White, Coleman breaks for the plate on contact, and he's easily thrown out at third. Double play to end that possible threat. 2 down. Tom Herr with a base hit. And that puts Jackson at 16. Just check the hits here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Runner on first, 2 outs. Jack Clark, 25. Grounds out. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left on base. When I get this deep into the game, the 8th inning marks 2 in the fatigue number, so that will be it for Jackson. He goes 8 innings pitched, 6 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, 4 Ks. One of the interesting things I saw in this, when looking at the stats for this replay, the Royals, the series went 7 games. The Royals used pretty much 2 relief pitchers. I think Bud Black pitched in relief in the first game, and that was it. So it's Quisenberry and who else was the other pitcher? Beckwith. So Quisenberry and Beckwith were the 2 pitchers that pitched in relief for them in all the 7 games. So low scoring, good starting pitching. That's kind of the method that this series went. So Tudor on the mound still, 2-0. Bottom of the 8th, Darryl Motley to lead off. A 45 is a ground out. 1 out. Steve Balboni. 20. Oh, he strikes out. That's not a 29. That's a 13. He strikes out. 2 outs. Nobody on. Buddy Biancalana. Who else do they have to play shortstop? Onyx Concepcion can play short. I'm going to pinch hit. They're going to pinch hit for Biancalana. They're going to send to the plate Sheridan. Is that Danny Sheridan? Sheridan is Pat Sheridan. Sorry. And Sheridan will hit. 2 outs. Nobody on. Sheridan up. He flies to center. So nothing happens there. And we're going to go to the 9th. Coming into play short will be Onyx Concepcion. Is that what I'm going to do? Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. He's going to move to the 9 spot. So Concepcion. Who do you have on the bench? I'm going to leave him in the 8th spot. I'll pinch it for the relief pitcher in the 9th. So Concepcion is a 6 normal 31 R3. Let me fix that. Coming into pitch will be Joe Beckwith. And he comes in. Beckwith will have a fatigue rating of 9, although he's only going to pitch 1 inning. Cedeno will lead off, top of the 9th. 2-0 St. Louis. 23. Wow, look at that. A 9 on his 21. Wow. 9 on his 26. This guy's card is amazing. But 23 is a 12, and that's a ground out. 1 for 3 for that card so far. Pendleton flies to right. 2 down. Darryl Porter. 25 is a walk. Porter's on first. 2 down. For Ozzie Smith. 31-9 is a base hit. First and second. Tudor is up, and they're going to leave him in. He's pitching great. They're going to stay with him. Let him hit. And a base hit. It comes through. 8 is a single over short. 1 runner scores, and the other goes to third. So Tudor helps his own cause with a clutch single. Now we're at first and third. and 2 outs. You got one more hit there. Coleman's up. 54 is a fly to right. First and third, fly ball right field. 1 run, 2 hits. The clutch hit by the pitcher, Tudor. We go to the bottom of the 9th. And the first hitter will be a pinch hitter. It is going to be Jorge Orta, whose position that year was a designated hitter. He will lead off. 63 is a flyout, 1 out. Lonnie Smith, error check, 36. This is not good. 22 is the catcher. That on a 12 is going to be an error. 22 is a first and second E2. Porter throws it down the line on a short nubber. Now we have a runner on second, 1 out. Wilson is up. He flies to left, 2 down for George Brett. And he flies to right. And that will end it. So, game 1 goes to St. Louis. 3 runs on 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 hits, 1 error. Kansas City, no runs, 3 hits, 1 error. John Tudor is lights out. Allows 3 hits, gets the complete game shutout. Game 1 goes to St. Louis. Vince Coleman did triple in the game, 1 for 5 with a triple. Did not score, though. With the 2 runs in the first, Cesar Cedeno doubled, and that was it. 2 runs was enough for the victory, right out of the gate. So that is game 1 of the 85 series replay. We will move on to game 2. We'll work on that tomorrow afternoon and get that posted. So if you guys want to check back in tomorrow, see how this progresses. But that is it. That's the final for game 1. St. Louis wins it with a final score of 3-0. Everybody have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.